Hey everybody, this is Thomas Felder. We are going live today on our Facebook Lunch and Learn. And Merecco Turner is already in the queue. Ray Hendrickson and myself, we're going to jump in 2 minutes. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are on travel doing our national tour today. Today's the second day or third day of our national tour. We're in Minnesota today, Minnesota. And so what we're going to discuss today is 3 things. One, we're going to discuss that there's poison in your food. There's poison in your food. There's poison in your deodorant. There's poison in your toothpaste. We're going to talk about it so you know where the poison is and to get rid of it. The second thing that we're going to do is God has been gracious to us and we've had some success. We've had some success and we're going to be able to invest close to $100,000 a month for the next 12 months into minority and women-owned businesses. We're going to invest that money into you. If you had a hard time getting a traditional loan, your credit score is not what it's supposed to be, or you're thinking about going to some loan shark or somebody who's going to charge you up the wazoo and make your life a living hell, we're going to give you a way to get that money at reasonable rates, reasonable bank type rates. We're going to make that money available for you. And over the next 12 months, we're going to give at least 12 of you $100,000 towards sort of getting your business off the ground or getting your business fixed up or modernized or solar panels or whatever it is that you want to get out of your business. We're going to make sure you can do that, okay? So we're going to discuss that today. And then the third thing that we want to discuss is housing. We also have a housing program that we'll be rolling out. So those of you who want to get a loan for a house and you can't get them from Fannie Mae or Sally Mae or whatever kind of May there is out there, we're going to give you money for your houses. We'll cover the difference that FHA won't cover. All right, so we're going to talk about some of those things today. And lastly, if you have some business owners out there who need to get a credit card processing machine, we're going to show you how to get that machine. All right, and we'll cover the cost on that. We'll give you the machine for free. It's the law. You got to have it. So if you got to have the machine, you might as well get it for free. So I'm excited today. I'm here with my good friend, Merecco Turner. I'm here in the house with some friends who are in our business in Minnesota. If you've never been to Minnesota, I can't even begin to tell you what you're missing, but we're going to have an incredible time. I miss y'all. I miss y'all. A lot of things have happened since the last time we talked. And since the last time we talked, we got together in the St. Louis area, tens of thousands of us talking about business opportunity. So listen, Merecco Turner is turning it up. We'll let him do what he does, and then we'll jump in and do what we do. I'm here with Ray Hendrickson, here with some of our other business partners, our international and our national business partners. But most importantly, we are grateful that you have joined us. Y'all need to get out a pen today. Get out a pen, and y'all need to repost and reshare this link, because I promise you, I'm going to give you enough information that if you listen and pay close attention, you'll be 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Now, to Ray Hendrickson. Please stand by.
To Minnesota yesterday afternoon. We left at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We got here at midnight. We were focused on chasing this dream down, and we found out that there were a handful of people in Minnesota who wanted to live their dreams. And so we believe that it's important that if we have the power to help people do that, we have a responsibility, if not an obligation, to make sure that they get what they need. And so we drove the miles. We started out in New York. We drove from New York to Maryland. That was 4 hours. We drove from Maryland to St. Louis. That was 15 hours. We drove from St. Louis to Minnesota. That was another 10 hours. You do the math. But in spite of it all, we recognize that if you don't spend your life living your life, then when it's time for you to leave this place, all you'll have is a head full of regret, and that's not how to live. In fact, if you don't live your life, then I wonder if you've ever really lived at all. And so we believe in the power of humanity. We believe in the power of the imagination. We believe in the power of dreams. And we also believe that we have the power within us to make those dreams come to pass. And so how, therefore, do you live your dreams? Well, there are a couple of reasons, a couple of things that you got to consider. The first thing you got to consider is yourself. What are you prepared to do? You're going to pay the cost to be the boss along the way, somewhere along the line. Somewhere along the line, you're going to work. Somewhere along the line, you're going to spend the time, effort, energy, and money to create $1 million income. Either you're going to do it for your employer or you're going to do it for yourself. But make no mistake about it, you will do the work to make $1 million or more. The only question you've got to ask yourself is whether or not that money's going to go home with you or it's going to go home with your employer. Once you've determined two major things, number one, you believe you deserve to have what you think about, and number two, you believe you can have what you think about, then all you need at that point is a plan. And we've been able to fortify a plan. We've been able to implement a plan. We've scoured the network marketing arena to find the most lucrative opportunity we can find. And for those of you who are listening, you might think network marketing is that other four-letter word. You don't want to hear it. You don't want anybody to talk about it. Maybe you've had a bad experience. Maybe you know someone who's had a bad experience. But in the grand scheme of things, you've got to look at the facts. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. You can argue with an awful lot of things. One of those things you cannot argue with is success. So the statistic is network marketing has created more millionaires than any other industry in the history of the world. That includes the industry that you're currently employed in. It includes the industries that you were fired or laid off from. So therefore, if your goal is to become financially independent, and by the way, most people's goals is to become financially independent, even if you're not willing to admit it, the people that I've spoken to at length, when you distill it down, when you get down to the bare essence, when you get down to the least common denominator, everyone wants to be free. And I think you want to be free because you were born to be free. And when you were a child, you knew what it was to be free. It was only after you became an adult were you subjugated to someone else's agenda. And so everybody wants to be free. What happens is from the time that you're 3 years old moving forward, we are brainwashed. What? We are brainwashed. What? You are made to believe in order for you to be free, you've got to work for someone else. And so when a little child says, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief, and I want all these things that I have lived my life to accomplish, we always respond with one simple, solitary formula. And that formula is, well, little Johnny, if that's what you want to do, if little Sarah wants to do these things, you've got to go to school, get a good education, you'll find a good job, you'll make lots of money, and will be successful. And I know we don't mean it. I know we don't mean to destroy these children's dreams. I know we don't mean to stand in their way. I know we don't mean to take their imagination that is large and as vast as the sky and put it in a small shoebox. I know we don't mean to, but we do it every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So now ask yourself this question. Who do you know has followed this plan and lives their dream lifestyle? Drives their dream car. I'm not talking about a nice car. I'm talking about the Bugatti Veyron. Who lives in their dream house? I'm not talking about a nice house. I got a nice house. I'm staying with some real nice folk who got a nice house. I'm talking about the house with the east wing and the west wing. I'm talking about the house that comes with staff. That's the house I'm talking about. Who do you know follow that formula and lives their dream lifestyle? They can vacation by calling the pilot and say, fuel up the jet, we're going to Paris for the afternoon. Nobody or nobody. And if it hasn't worked for you, if it hasn't worked for your parents, if it hasn't worked for Big Mama, if it hasn't worked for your aunts and uncles, your sister, your brothers, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, why would you ever compel your child to follow a plan that hasn't worked for anybody you've ever met on the time side of life? So here's what I'm suggesting in no uncertain terms. Every one of us were born to grow up to be free. And the reason why you want to be free is because you were born free. When you were a kid, you had one concern only, and that was to be in the house before the lamppost came on for dinner time. That was all you had to worry about. You spent all your days thinking up new ways to have fun. That's what life is supposed to be. Yes, there's a little work involved, but you should be working your passion. And when you're doing what you love, it ain't work. It's called passion. But when you're doing what you have to do until you can do what you need to do, that's called work, which equals stress. Want to know why we have the significant amount of heart attacks on Monday morning? Stress sets in. Over the weekend, you're free. So we live for the weekend because we get some modicum of freedom. That's what we've been chasing. So we chase Monday to Tuesday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday to say, thank God it's Friday because I'm Friday free. And you enjoy freedom for a couple of days. You turn right around and get back to work on Monday and you do it all over again, over and over and over. So how do we break this cycle? How do we change things? Because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. You want to be free. Maybe you thought being a doctor would help you get there, but you discovered that it ain't. I've got a doctor friend. He's a pretty good doctor. He's been a doctor for over 20 years. He's been doctoring for over 30 years because he was an intern before he was a certified doctor or board certified doctor. But even 20 years out of school, he's still paying back student loans. He said, Ray, I can't foresee a day in the future where I will ever be free of the student loan. So now if I was irresponsible and I loaded a 500-pound gorilla on your shoulder the day you graduated from school, then would you consider me a friend or a foe? And isn't that what our educational system does? They put a 500-pound gorilla on your shoulder and you can't seem to get rid of him. You could have plastic surgery. You could even take it to court. But the way the laws have changed, the gorilla waits for you on the staircase of the courthouse. And after you've gone through all of the bankruptcy proceedings, he's comfortably waiting outside to jump right back on your shoulder. Isn't that awesome? Imagine setting your children up to fail like that. Is that responsible parenting? So in the grand scheme of things, the only reason why we all wanted to grow up to be a doctor is because someone said a doctor makes a lot of money. And what does money equal? Money equals choices. Choices equals freedom. Told ya. We all simply want to be free, and we've been tricked or persuaded or brainwashed to think that if we get this title or that title or the other title, we'll make enough money, and money equals choices and choices equals freedom, because the difference between rich and poor is not money, it's choices. And it just so happens that choices are purchased with money in this country. But what if I could show you a way to just be free? What if I could show you a way to put away all those student loans? What if I could show you a way to pay off the debt? What if I could show you a way to pay off the house? What if I could show you a way to walk into the dealership and say, give me that one, and write a check? What if I could show you a way to bring mom and dad home from work? What if I could show you a way to finally get wifey on that honeymoon you've been promising her for the last decade? What if I could show you how to do that? All you need is a viable plan, perhaps a plan that's been test proven, perhaps a plan that has historically helped other people succeed. What if I could show you that plan? Would you be willing to do it? Or are we so hardened to believe that going to school to get an education, to get a good job, then we'll make a lot of money, be successful, is the only way to make money? Because if you're persuaded that that's the only way to make money, you've already lost the fight. My senior partner said to me when I first got started, Ray, you already own the most expensive thing that any man can own. And I'm thinking, is it the Rolex? Is it the BMW? Is it the house? What is it? He says it's a closed mind. He says your brain, your mind only works like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Are you open? This call is for a handful, not everybody. We're looking for the cream of the crop. And you got to recognize something about cream. It always rises to the top. In the midst of the circumstances, always rise. In the midst of the challenges, always rise. In the midst of the naysayers, always rise. Are you cream or are you mediocre? Are you average? If you are, that call is next Tuesday. That's not your call. This call is for a handful of open-minded, success-oriented, money-motivated, highly ambitious and coachable people. Those for us make up the definition of cream. Are you cream? If you're cream, then this call's for you. We want to share with you a very brief idea. An idea that is literally changing the complexion of wealth, not just in this country. I got a chance to spend some time with some of my Haitian colleagues. We are creating financial independence at an alarming rate on the island of Haiti. Believe that? A country that everybody else has counted out. A country with more rich history than most other first world countries. That country, open-minded, success-oriented, money-motivated, highly ambitious, and coachable. When you put those 5 variables on the table, the only thing left is opportunity. And when you have preparation plus opportunity, it yields success 100% of the time. Now, I've had people say, well, wait a minute, Ray, you know, there's a lot of people that get started in network marketing and never really have any success. And I say, guess what? That statistic is organizational wide. It doesn't matter what industry it is. 80% of the work gets done by 20% of the people. All the time, in your church, at your job, in your house. So don't be alarmed that people quit. People have a tendency to quit because your teacher said, if you fail this test, you're a failure. What they don't teach you is that the average millionaire, before he makes his first million, fails 7 times. So what kind of failure are you and I? Are you a first-time failure, second-time failure, third-time failure, fourth-time failure, fifth-time failure, sixth-time failure, or seven-time failure? Because only when you fail 7 times will you win. I'm not quitting until I get what I came for. And every time you fail, you learn what not to do the next time. Are you all getting this? If you look back over your history, you are a failure, which is why you succeed. You failed the first time you tried to swim across the pool, but now you know how to swim. You failed the first time you tried to ride the bike across the backyard and you fell over and scraped your knee, but now you know how to ride a bike. You failed at the very first relationship that you ever embarked on in the 2nd grade when you used to pass those cute little notes, do you like me? Check the box, yes or no. But because we fail, we win. You have to fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail 7 times in order to win the one time you've anticipated from the very beginning. Do you have the intestinal or testicular fortitude to stick it out until you get there? Check the box, yes or no. If no, there's nothing no one can do to help you. But for the rest of us, for those of us who are persuaded we deserve to have it, for those of us who are persuaded that we can have it, after all, it was heaven that gave us the dominion over the works of his hands. He said if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain from thence to hence. Here's what that means. You can create whatever environment you want. And whatever you place your focus on will be impacted by your energy and will ultimately turn to suit your demands. You have no idea how much help you have, whether it be in the seen or the unseen. Heaven has leveraged everything, every one of those resources to see to it that you win. And if you win, you bring glory to the Father. But if you lose, nobody wins. You don't win. Mom and daddy don't get retired. The children get the 500-pound gorilla. Auntie and uncle consider you a failure because you quit on the runway. Look, if you win, everybody wins. You become the rising tide that raises all ships. People around you are just waiting for you to win so that you can give them a measure of hope. And if you hear the phone ringing and you're the only one that hears it, maybe the phone's for you. Pick up the phone, answer the call, step up to the plate, swing the bat, and if you strike out, swing again, and swing until you hit the home run you were born to hit, and then live like a champion. Champions are not always standing in the winner's circle. There's an awful lot of preparation. Before we get on this call, we read, we study, we communicate, we draw things out. We have a list of ideas. We vet it out. There's a lot of preparation. This is not just something we woke up and rolled into. We prepare because success equals opportunity plus preparation. I got to tell you this real quick, and then I'll give you a few bits and pieces about our opportunity. I got a chance to speak before 15,000 people just a few days ago in a coliseum where people from all over the then known world came to converge in St. Louis. Imagine if I was unprepared. Imagine if I didn't know what to say, if I wasn't kind of ready to make my portion of the speech. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would be for me? So what did I do? I drank a lot of milk and I lifted a lot of weights and I made sure that I was prepared so that when my opportunity came my way, I would crack that bat and knock that ball straight out of the arena. I left it broken and smoking because I was prepared. In my brain, I stand before coliseums every day. I talk like a champion. I walk like a champion. I smile like a champion. I dress like a champion. Nothing about me says loser. Yes, I do fail, but failing is in preparation for the success. Fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail plus fail equals success. What are you willing to give? I'm willing to give everything. I don't just give it my best. My best is only based on the information I currently have. And if that's all I give, that's all I'll ever get. I'm giving my all. If I learn something new, I add that to my repertoire. If I learn something new, I add it to my repertoire. Everybody that I encounter becomes a teacher for me. My enemies teach me. My friends teach me. The naysayers teach me. You all teach me. My senior partners teach me. Do you have a mentor in your corner helping to guide you down the road? A road that they've already gone by. A road that they've already made it through. A road that they have been able to navigate and negotiate all of the landmines so that they didn't explode but made it successfully across and have endeavored to come back to help you through. If you don't have a mentor, guess what? You will never, ever, not never get to the finish line. I don't care how much raw talent you have. You could ask Muhammad Ali. He had a mentor. He had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Barack Obama has a coach. He has a fleet of people that he goes to vet ideas out. Somebody's got to be there for you. You've got to find somebody who has what you want and learn what they know, do what they do, and inevitably you'll have what they have. That's the formula for success, ladies and gentlemen. It's not trial and error. Find somebody who's willing to do for you what Angelo Dundee did for Muhammad Ali. So now let me tell you why we chose network marketing. Yes, it's created more millionaires than any other industry in the history of the world, but there are 4,200 choices here in the United States. How do you choose the right one? Because remember, I told you this. There's no other industry that even comes remotely close to network marketing for creating success. So I knew, since no engineers were becoming millionaires, since no salespeople were becoming millionaires, my best opportunity to become a millionaire, remember, I wanted to be free, and freedom is purchased with money. I wanted to be in network marketing. But I didn't want to do the traditional network marketing where you sell girdles and sports bras and thigh cream and all of these other magnificent products. They're all good, don't get me wrong. But the problem is they aren't recession proof. Even the vacations, if something happens in a recession, people stay home. That's where the term staycation came from. And if I built a massive business and the recession hit, I couldn't afford losing my income. So I wanted to get involved in a company that focused in and on essential products and services. Like what? Glad you asked. Cable, internet, home phone, cell phone, gas, electricity, home heating oil, healthcare, and now we're moving into finances. These are things that people can't live without. And we've already partnered with the major players in the industry like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, Nextel, GE, DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast, Xfinity, Cox, Cablevision, OptOnline, Blue Cross Blue Shield, TouchSuite, and a whole host of other companies. Now, you're familiar with these companies because they are the best at marketing. You see them on TV, you see them on the billboards, you hear them on the radio. But we all know commercial advertising doesn't work. Y'all know that. When a commercial comes on, you get up and go to the bathroom. You get up and check on the kids. You take your cell phone out and check out who pays you between station breaks. And so why should they continue to spend millions of dollars when it's not bringing in any new customers? It's just costing them money, and it raises your rates. And so with the advent of Facebook or social media, businesses are looking to change direction. And so they saw how Facebook became $1 billion entity in less than a decade because you talk to your friends and family members. After a long, hard weekend, don't we collect around the water cooler? Don't we share all of our weekend's highlights? We tell our friends we saw this movie, we went to that restaurant, we found this mani-pedi spot, or we got our hair did. We tell our business all over and around the water cooler. And because of your influence, people go spend money. So the difference between you and I at this point is when you make a recommendation, someone else spends money with someone else. But when I make a recommendation, I get paid. See the difference? Who do you think has the better deal? You or me? And so 5 Links Enterprises, the company that we're affiliated with, allow me to get paid from the same recommendation I've been giving away my whole life. And here's how this works. I first got started because it made sense to me. It was my own bills. I get to save money, and I also get to get paid. Now, I'm hugely skeptical. I don't believe nobody. I don't trust nobody. I don't even like nobody. I'm from New York. Look, when I first moved into my house, the first thing I did when I moved into the suburbs, supposed to be a nice neighborhood, is I put an alarm system on my house. My kids can't answer the door. My wife can't answer the door. Only I answer the door. I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm scared. I'm trying to protect the people I love the most, including myself. But because someone that I was near to, someone who was dear to me, introduced me to the opportunity, I figured at least I'd take a look. And after that, I did some research. I found out that we were the #1 corporate business entity in Rochester, beating out companies like Xerox, Paychex, and Bausch & Lomb. I found out that we were the #1 customer acquisition company in these United States. I found out that we were governance sanctioned by the Federal Trade Commission in good standing. I found out that we had an A+ credit rating with the Better Business Bureau. I found out we've been featured in just about every major business magazine that comes across the newsstand, to include the Wall Street Journal, MSNBC News, Your Business at Home magazine, 4 times, Success from Home magazine, 5 times, Inc. 500, 5,000, a record splintering 9 consecutive times. The only other company that has done that on North American soil is Microsoft. Once I did my preliminary research and I married that with my good friend's recommendation, I figured I at least need to take a look. I mean, look, if it don't work, I could always go back to being hardworking and broke. I was pretty good at that. But I tried poor, and it's just not for me. So I needed to make some changes. And so I got started with the company just to see if it would work. Before I was willing to talk to anybody about it, I said, let me try it on. Let me test drive it. Let me kick the tires a little bit. Take it on a spin around the block. See how it handles in the curves. You know what I'm talking about? I switched over the services in my own home from name brand companies to name brand companies, started saving close to $200 a month. Let me tell you why that's important. That meant that I had been overpaying by $200 a month every month for the last 10 years. That's $24,000 I gave away in overages. How much are you overpaying? Because you are overpaying. And I wasn't willing to give any more money away to help finance the corporate jet or to give the CEO tens of thousands in bonuses that he didn't deserve. It was my money. And I'd rather recycle that $200 back through my house than to send it to somebody else's house. Now, just when I thought that was enough, I was flabbergasted. At the end of the month, they paid me a check. They gave me 50 cents to $11 for each one of those bills that I was already saving $200 a month on. So now, you mean to tell me this company will actually pay me to save money on services I'm going to spend money on anyway? It's almost bizarre, but that's precisely right. And so at that point, it became a personal mission for me to share it with everybody that I cared about. All of the people that I loved, I trusted, I admired, I respected. I simply sent them a text message. You tell me if this is simple. You tell me if this is not simpler than anything you'll do today in your 8-hour time at work. Simply sent them a text message. The text message read like this. If I could show you a way to save a few $1,000s a year on the services you use every day, would you want me to tell you? Do you know what the vast majority, over 90% of them said? Yes! Who doesn't want to save money? I would simply send them to my website. They pick the service that they wanted. They pick the service provider that they wanted. They would choose the promotional discounted rate that they wanted. And every time they turned the light on or flushed the toilet or took a shower or cooked a meal or washed the dish, opened the fridge, used the microwave, watched TV, surfed the internet, make a phone call or send a text, I was getting paid again. And I get paid every 30 days for the life of that customer. I've been getting paid for 2.5 years for customers I signed up 2.5 years ago. Can you imagine that? And I haven't seen them in 2.5 years. In other words, I get paid no matter what's going on at your job. If I don't get out of the bed, I get paid. If I decide to get out of the bed, I get paid. If I choose to stay home, I get paid. If I go out to work, I get paid. There's nothing that could keep me from getting paid. And that's how wealth is created in this country. Residual income and distribution. I just covered the residual income element. Let me cover distribution really quick. And then I'm going to share something with you and introduce you to probably the wealthiest person that you'll meet in this calendar year. Distribution allows you to leverage your time. It doesn't matter how much money you get paid. If you get paid linearly, if you get paid based on time, your income potential ends when the 24-hour cycle ends. Then the clock strikes 12, you got to start all over again. I've been in sales a long time. And even in those instances when I had banner years, January 1st comes around, you got to take off running all over again. If you want to make that same kind of money, you got to run just as hard, if not harder, because corporate America is going to change your quotas because they want more work out of you for less money. Distribution allows you to get paid beyond your capacity that is limited by 24 hours. Let me give you an example. You know, a CEO spends a few hundred hours to find a president, and then he tells the president, go hire some vice presidents. And then the vice presidents go hire directors. And the directors hire upper and middle management. Upper and middle management hire lower management. Lower management hires the white collar, the blue collar worker. And the CEO plays golf Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and he gets paid 250 times what the average employee makes. You know why? Because he found a way to purchase your 8 from you. You're giving away 8 hours of your life every day, 40 hours a week. And so the CEO says, if I could find a way to get a bunch of people to give me their 8s, then I don't have to surrender my own 8. I can live my 8. Leverage. And so we implemented those two principles, residual income and leverage, because they're divine in nature and they must work no matter what your religious predisposition is. And so I recognized that there was a handful of people that wanted to save money, but there was a handful of people that wanted to make money. And so I asked them a different question through a text message. You tell me how simple this is. Tell me if this is not simpler than anything you'll do today. Here's the message. If I found something we could do together to make some money, would you want me to tell you? The people who said yes, I would simply get them on a phone call just like this. Someone else would explain the business opportunity. If it made sense to them, we would send them to a video. You can find it at www.5linkspaysme.com. The number 5, Linx, as in X-ray, Pays, as in Sally, M as in money, E as in Edward.com. We would ask them to watch this 20-minute video, and I'm going to suggest that if you're listening for the first time, you do the same. Write down whatever questions you have. Then you could get back with the person who introduced you. We all answer their questions, and if their questions are answered satisfactorily, at least to their happiness level, we help them get started. We help them switch over the services in their own house so that they can start saving and making money from their own bills. We help them get a few external customers to advance their residual income. But here's the thing. If you're the person that got the ball rolling and you introduce me to the business and I switch over the services in my own house and I get paid for my own customers, then you, because you got the ball rolling, get a piece of everything that I'm responsible for. That's called leverage. And so we get paid the same way CEOs get paid. When I first got started, 21 people got started in my business because I went through 422 people by sending out a series of text messages. Those 21 people grew to over 500 in 2.5 years. So there are 500 income streams coming to my one little solitude old house. Let me tell you something. It's exciting. To know that you wake up in the morning and there's more money in the bank today than it was yesterday, and all you did between yesterday and today was sleep, that's exciting. To know that I've been able to help a handful of people change their financial service system or their financial level of success, that's exciting. To give people a measure of hope that they weren't getting from their employers, that's exciting. To know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for the first time in your adult life and to recognize it's not a locomotive coming in your direction, that's exciting. Yes, we are making significant, vast amounts of money, but we don't make money at your expense. We make money as a collective. We make money in conjunction one with another. And so we believe that if you sow enough, you should reap enough. And so what we do is we travel the countryside to identify people who want more, and we sow a seed in their lives to help them get it, because whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So if I go around helping to create financial independence, this business and heaven has a responsibility to pay me what I'm worth. And what could be better than that? So listen, I know I haven't given you enough information to make a decision. That's by design. I want to send you to that video. You need to take a look. The number 5, L-I-N-X as in X-ray, P-A-Y-S as in Sally, M as in money, E as in Edward.com. Take a look at the video. See for yourself if it's the financial exodus that you've been waiting all these years for. For us, we're creating 1,000 millionaires. We got a chance to help a bunch of folks from Haiti that don't even speak English step into financial independence because of the very next speaker that I'm going to introduce you to. And let me tell you, this guy knows how to make money. I know that because he's been doing it for so long. Before he was involved in this business, do you believe he was the chief attorney for Black Entertainment Television? The chief attorney? That means at the top, right? He was also responsible for the largest acquisition in the history of TV media, which culminated in creating one of the 6 African-American billionaires on the planet, Mr. Bob Johnson. He had a law practice for 16 years, a title company, not 1 but 2 restaurants and 13 properties, made a whole heap of money. But when he saw this business, he said, I could buy back my time, and instead of working for a living, I could live for a living. And because he travels the countryside, even though he out-earns 99% of everybody in America, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. Because he knows 100% of what it takes to succeed in business. He's had exponential success in a very abbreviated amount of time, and he's made all $1.5 million of his dollars in the last 3.5 years helping people just like you and I live out our financial dreams. And he's having an awful lot of fun doing it. And so without any further ado, it is my esteemed honor to introduce to some and present to others the #1 money-earning Platinum Senior Vice President in the history of our $163 million debt-free company and author of a best-selling book called Redefining the American Dream. Help me welcome Platinum Senior Vice President, soon to be double platinum, which only means his income is bound to double, Thomas, the Maestro Felder. Maestro, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Listen, I just want to say welcome to everybody who's joining us today by Facebook, everybody who's joining us today by telephone, and whatever other way that you've managed to sort of tie into this call, we appreciate you. I've got a lot to cover in so little time, but we're going to cover it. There's some new things that we have on the horizon. First of all, we just came from an international event, and I got to tell you, my network is expanding. It's expanding. And God has just showered down grace and mercy upon us. And what good is a blessing unless you give the blessing away? Now, some of y'all know when I joined this business 4 years and 4 months ago, none of my friends wanted to join this business. None of my friends wanted to do it. They all wanted to sit on the sidelines and see how it was going to work for me. I think that's crazy. That's like a woman that's called make $3 billion in an afternoon. I watched a black man, 46 years old, make $3 billion. And so you can get a visual on what $3 billion is like. It's like taking a $100 bill, stack it 6 feet high, go a mile in one direction, come back where you started, and do that 2 more times. So 3 round trips is $3 billion. You can spend $50,000 every other hour for 175 years and still not spend all the money. Do you know how much I got out of that deal? I got a nice placard from Things Remembered for $20.